A very good day to all our friends around the world. For the past few days, one has been witnessing the complete annihilation by the Western media regarding Vladimir Putin and the Russian move in Ukraine. Needless to say, it's a very sad occasion, one that has been handled very, very callously, and unfortunately, the situation is now becoming deeply mired and untenable, because in appreciating or assessing the past few days, it now seems to me we are reaching a threshold whereby things might get worse. It would seem to me that for the moment, the West is on a high horse vis-a-vis NATO expansion. NATO expansion would have been understood if a war was taking place prior to the move of Russia into Ukraine, which followed a course that was set earlier. The West has taken upon themselves and calling Putin insensitive, not observing international rules, and painting him into a corner from where it might not be very possible for anyone to withdraw from. If anything untoward happens to Putin, who will the West talk to rescind the situation or to remove the crisis that is evolving? And the crisis is evolving. I don't like saying this, but in the next few days it might hit new heights, because the West has made Putin not only feel completely unwanted, which might be what they're doing in their minds is correct, but at the same time, where is the balance? And the balance cannot be reached until and unless you have someone to talk to who has the power to bring an end to all that is happening. If the initial question was, should NATO go into Ukraine? Is that so important a question that all these events have been unleashed and unfolded? Perhaps not. But this is not a time to review on what we might or might not have done. This is a time to understand, if you push further, so far there has been absolutely no reaction to all the threats that the West has raised together. And maybe in the long term, these sanctions will be very debilitating. But if this process continues, and coming on the coattails of COVID, where world economies are severely strained, where people are now once again talking about hunger, pain, suffering around the world, in Africa, in Asia, I think the world should stand and review what is happening, and in view of what is taking place, it might be worthwhile trying even now to find a medium of being able to bring together all this away from war. Maybe this is not so evident at the moment. But I fear in the next few days, and I'm not talking of weeks, the situation might deteriorate to points of no return. I think the talks of Ukraine and Russia on the Belarus border should have been clearly assisted by the West. But if NATO takes a posture or a position of complete umbrage, well, then nothing is going to happen. I don't know how long Europe can maintain its own situation to be able to control the situation in Ukraine. But if troops is the only answer, then war is evident, and this would be a frightening war. So I appeal to all the leaders who have the influence in the West to be able to talk and figure it out, not by threats, not by abusing the mental position of Mr. Putin, and not by trying to disgrace him in the eyes of the world. Reminds me somewhat of Bashar Assad, with all the threats he received from the West. It didn't help. So, not wanting a refugee crisis, not wanting to have to feed millions of people shortly as things go through the roof, not wanting world peace to completely shatter. Is this what everyone are riding high horses for? It ought not to be. So, in just a short broadcast, I appeal, please start talking again. Please start trying to put together a via means of being able to bring the world together. Stop it now. I mean, all of a sudden, we see in the Far East, Japan and South Korea riding their war horses as well. If this altogether is not encirclement, if this altogether is not wanting to break world peace, well, then they're both sides responsible, not just one. I reiterate, I do not in any way condone war in Ukraine. But beyond Ukraine lies millions and millions and millions, billions of people who are starting to get affected. This is not the time to assert superiority. This is time to placate and bring together compromise. So for God's sake, get down to it. And as I again reiterate, it's not weeks or months. The complete situation will not ease overnight. It's already gone too far. But I believe that further fueling the fire is not helping it bring peace into the world. So let's hope people who hear this understand. And I think no matter what anyone says, Donald Trump has tried in his own subtle way to bring some sort of understanding in the United States that this is not necessarily a question of them and us. Let's try and retreat to the situation where all of us can abide, go jointly in the world. Thank you.